I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail heroic. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember the 50 waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. False good. Important thing is, I'm giving you peace.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework thing. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. That means you're going to make a profit.
Look, these 3 words written larger than the rest. With a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird O' Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for July 7th, 2021. Today we're watching Season 5, Episode 17, A Simple Investigation, which of course is neither simple nor an investigation, although actually it is an investigation. I mean, you know what? In the scheme of things, it's probably pretty simple. So you know what? An apt title for today's episode, but I gotta be honest here, people. This is not one of the top 50% of DS9 episodes. You know, if you split DS9 down the middle and you say, well, half of the episodes are better than average and half are below average, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty easy one to call below average. That said, is it bad? No, it's not a bad episode. And compared to Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek Picard or even Star Trek Lower Decks, this is high quality television here. But compared to other episodes of Deep Space Nine, like last week's Our Man Bashir, or even next week's Business as Usual, this was a low point. Okay, a relative low point, especially for a Season 5 episode. It's the episode where mysterious figures come on the station, a crime deal goes bad, a mysterious woman appears. Odo actually has feelings for a humanoid woman other than Kira for a brief time, and things are not as they appear. So, yeah. All that and more coming today on Deep Space Nine, A Simple Investigation. But before we get started, 47 Yorktown was first in the chat, at least as far as I can see, at 8:37 a.m. this morning. Wow, 47 Yorktown. Says first to say hashtag bird is late. That was with 7 hours to go. Wow. Not Ryan Johnson says hello and Qapla. Hail Karoga. Hail Karoga. And he also says hashtag bird's not late. He's early for tomorrow. I wasn't not only not late, I was early for today. Hell, I was early for tomorrow too. At 1:35 p.m., Josh Street says, "Where is Lato Prey 5? He is starting to start later and later every time," which is of course total nonsense. And then Josh Street says, "Remember to put Bird of Prey 5 in your comments so the evil sleeping through the stream O Prey 5 doesn't show up." And Josh Street also says to go over to the Bird screening room to watch along with Bird of Prey only while he streams the episode/movie at www.birdofprey5.com/SR. Absolutely, that is the link to the Bird of Prey 5 screening room. If you're new here, that is the link to which you can watch today's episode with us. Otherwise, you can go ahead and watch it on your own if you have your DVD of Deep Space Nine, or you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Amazon Prime Video, or Paramount Plus. Deep Space Nine is available on all those platforms. Queue up Season 5, Episode 17, and be ready to hit play when I tell you in a few minutes. Captain Trek says hello. Qapla, Captain Trek. Guys, earlier today, Captain Trek did his morning brew. Then he ended it early. And a little bit later, he came on and did what he calls a pain stream. I urge you to listen to that stream, specifically maybe the first 30 to 45 minutes of that stream. Some pretty serious issues were discussed. It's a pretty real stream. We said some things as a community. We said some things to each other. We let down our guards. We let down our shields. Yeah, we all let down our shields for a little bit this morning. If you want to see behind the curtains, that's the place to do it. Captain Trek's pain stream earlier today. He shared with us. We shared with each other. It was one of the more memorable YouTube streams I've been in recent history. It is not a happy-go-lucky stream. It is serious discussion, but I think that most of us would be better for listening to it than having missed it. So check it out if you get the time. Richie Poole says hello out there. Qapla, Richie. John Araki says, remember to put DNR in front of all your chats so Bird can have peace of mind that he didn't need to read any of the dozens he skipped over. Well, that would be nice. John Araki says, and Qapla. Thank you, John Araki. Hashtag free Gina. And if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, says John Araki. Captain Trek says hello to Richie Poole. And also hello to John Araki. John DeMarco saves time by saying hello to everyone. The Random Menace says greetings from the future. Greetings, Random Menace. 47 Yorktown says hello, young sir, and the General Chang emoji. Qapla, 47 Yorktown. John DeMarco's got to love that Kurogan logic. Absolutely. Hello again, Captain Trek. Professor Brainy Spec says Qapla, Bird of Prey. Stopping in at work to say hello. Thank you, Professor. Dee Dee Myers says Bird of Prey. Qapla, hope you and the family are doing well. Thank you, Dee Dee. I hope you are doing well and yours are doing well. Dan23 says hello. Hello, Dan. Dan says episode where Odo is in bed with a woman, indeed, who's not a shapeshifter and not Kira and not Luxwana Troy. An actually attractive woman. Surprise, surprise. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to that point. John DeMarcos is not one of my favorite episodes either. I highly doubt this rates as many people's favorite episode. What do we got? Dan says the same about this episode. D.D. Myers says the Random Menace, howdy. What does the future have to tell us today? And Thomas Potts says, down with Kuroga. Oh, Thomas, why are you so angry, Thomas? Thomas, you guys don't know this, but Thomas actually has a lot of respect for Kuroga. He doesn't advertise it. He sends me private messages and text messages, which shows these wonderful Minecraft houses, neighborhoods that he's created. And in fact, the most recent was he showed me the intersection of Sassy Street and Kuroga Avenue, which was just beautiful. So I think Thomas might be a secret Kurogan, and we won't let Anti-Tracker know, and God knows he's probably not listening. So you need not fear that he'll hear this, but I think Thomas might be a secret Kurogan. Greetings, says Professor Brainy Specs. The Random Menace, says DD. Every time I am trying to type it out, it gets deleted. Oh, the future does not want to be written. Josh Street puts in the link to the screening room again. Thank you, Josh Street. Professor Brainy Specs says, greetings to Future Guy, the Random Menace, a.k.a. Jonathan. He is not Jonathan Archer. Eastland Burkholder says, some people get very real with each other. There are real persons behind the sometimes silly sounding names and avatar pictures referring to the Captain Track stream. Absolutely. And Dan says, today in England was remembering the July 7th, 2005 London terrorist bombing. Yes, it was. I remember that. Because we went to London for work in 2005. I believe it was shortly before the bombing. So yeah, we were there. We were, I mean, granted, we had come from the United States. So, in fact, actually, no, it wasn't before. It wasn't before the bombing, because I remember the date, my flight, I flew to London. Can you guess which date I had to fly to London for work? Mamo Prey remembers. Petridge Farm remembers. It was a certain date in September. 11 days into September was my flight from New York to London. And yes, I was a bit afraid, because I'm like, great, I'm going from New York City, target number 1, to London, target number 1 in Europe. What the worst that could happen? Well, let me tell you. The worst thing that happened on the flight was goddamn Virgin Atlantic and their shitty first class. Richard Branson, his company might be, his company might think they're the shit, but his company is total shit. They and even today, they do not design for the big and the tall. Okay, they design even their most expensive seating for average height, average size, average weight people. Okay, the first class seat had an unmovable ottoman, and it turned into a bed, but the bed wasn't long enough for somebody my height, and the ottoman didn't move, which means that even though I was in a first class seat, I had no leg room. I had no effing leg room. My feet were awkwardly placed inside a hole inside an ottoman. I couldn't even lay them flat. I honestly was thinking of switching with somebody in their whatever they call their coach. They have a better coach than regular coach, because those seats I could see had a hell of a lot more leg room than the seat I was in. Now, of course, I didn't do it because I wanted the first class experience to London, but fuck, I will never fly a Virgin flight again. They're terrible. Yeah, well, that's probably true. Well, even if I got better tomorrow, I'm not going to fly. Virgin Atlantic would be the last place, or any Virgin brand, anything would be the last, except maybe Mobile. But any place that has to deal with their seating arrangements, they fuck Richard Branson, if you're out there listening, I hope you do well in your space travel, but the people you hire to design your shit, they're all failures as engineers. Thomas Bot says hello to Catman and son of a bitch to autocorrect because he first called Catman K-Man. Dee Dee Myers says no worries to Random Menace. Eastland says, did I miss Gangster Kirk? You did. Thomas Bot says, so Anti-Trucker dug a hole to live in just outside one of my cities that has a 32-room hotel. Shaking his head. I heard about that, Thomas. The Random Menace says, Professor Brainy Specs, hello there. Please keep my identity secret. Professor Brainy Specs says, whoops. Yeah, John DeMarco says, wow, no need to insult Thomas. I'm not insulting him. Thomas Potts is our secret agent of Karoga, says DD. Professor Brainy Specs says, sorry to Random Menace. Thomas says, what a coincidence. Bird of Prey was in London that year. Rock Solid Productions, Qapla, Rock Solid. Where did it jump to? Yes. Hashtag Birds Late, hashtag Late Prey 5, hashtag Rip Pine Top, Tennessee, hashtag Fly the L, hashtag Dear Bob, hashtag Free Mop, hashtag Hail on Karoga. Thank you, Rock Solid. Eastland Burkle, this is gravity and diseases do not care about you personally. The Random Menace says every mirror you buy is used. Wow. Professor Brainy Specs is lolling at the Random Menace. Dan is yelling, my legs, my legs. The Random Menace says, don't talk bad about Richard Branson. He's a way better billionaire than Jeff Bezos. Agree to disagree. Eastland Burkle says, I sleep with my legs propped up, but with no wall to prop up legs on. Recently read an article about Andre the Giant. I guess he also slept with his legs propped up. Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready, guys. Head to the screening room, if you will, or whatever you're going to use to watch. And again, we're doing season 5, episode 17, A Simple Investigation. And Dan says, in England, we once had Virgin trains. I feel bad for the people who had to sit in those seats. Okay. So we're going to play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Load it up. And Aravic Sonder with a $1 super chat. Thank you so much, Aravic Sonder. And we got the DS9 station. Computer time, 1821 hours. We have an alien putting something up his sleeve. He's dressed like a nun. It's somebody at his door. He opens the door and two scary looking guys come in, push him around. One guy punches him in the stomach. He falls down. They want to know where it is. He's like, I don't know what you're looking for. The other guy says, yes, you do. Some guy's got a scanner. He says it's not here. The tall guy says it's possible we have the wrong man. The shorter, stockier guy says it's possible. And the tall guy says, we know who you are. We know who you came to meet. And for the last time, where is it? And he says, I'll take you to it. And he says, oh, it was him all along. And then he pulls out the gun he was going to use to shoot him. And the short guy accidentally vaporized him. And says, I thought it was on stun. And he says, look what you did to the carpet. And he says, look what you did now. So now they wait for the woman. Maybe she knows where he hit it. Well, if a phaser on vaporize will set off the alarms on a starship, wouldn't it set off the alarms on Deep Space Nine? Apparently not. Okay, so Bashir and Dax and Odo and O'Brien are sitting at Quark's, and they're talking about a new holo novel that Bashir got. It's a new spy thriller, and they want to know who O'Brien plays. He's Falcon, of course. He's always plays Falcon. He doesn't want to be Falcon. He's tired of being the bad guy. And Dax says, but you do it so well. So Odo, is everybody okay for Sad Day? But Odo's not answering. He's busy. He's like, what do you want him to do? You got to save the queen, Odo. You drive around in fancy automobiles, posh parties, and steal her away from Falcon. And now O'Brien's pissed that he's like, he steals my girl. And O'Brien's looking at this girl on this. And now I think O'Brien is looking a little too much. If Keiko was there, Keiko's going to be angry. So Odo says he's busy Saturday. So then Dax says, well, we'll do it when you're not busy. And Odo's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just not the wrong person for this. And so Bashir says, we need someone else to play Odo's part. And O'Brien looks at the girl again and says he'll do it. And no, he can't. And now Odo is walking around Quark, and there's this young woman, not young, but this woman being harassed by Quark. She doesn't want anything from Quark. So Odo says, why don't you leave her alone? Can't you see she's not interested? This is a real Back to the Future moment. Like Lorraine, maybe this is Odo's mother and we don't know it. I doubt it. So the woman says you should keep a better eye on your business instead of her. And she says this alien's got a graviton emitter. He's manipulating the Dabo table for his friend. And Quark sees that it's true and runs over. And Odo says, you're very observant. She says, thanks. And so Odo says, are you waiting for someone? She says, you. Where have you been all my life? And Odo's like, what are you talking about? Like, isn't that what you want me to say? And Odo's like, honestly, no. Yes, she's waiting for someone. That's all he meant. She's sorry. She thought he had other things on her mind. She doesn't realize Odo doesn't go that way. He's like, bedroom eyes. It must be the bedroom eyes he has. She says, I bet you get that all the time. Odo says, not really. If anybody bothers you again, let him know. He's Security Chief Odo, and his office is across the promenade. She'll be all right. John Street says, Bird of Prey, why did Kuroga buy Trojan and are now selling used condoms? Because, it's a way to save on plastic and rubber. Easlyn Burkholder says, Garfield saw it happen. Random Menace has agreed to disagree with you about the quality of this episode. I love it. Oh, I'm glad you do. Josh reads his bird of prey. Is O'Brien playing the bad guy? A jab at the kind of parts he plays in movies outside Star Trek? Absolutely, it is. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 da 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 dun da da dun da da dun da 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 dun da dun da da dun da da da. I messed up there, son of a bitch. Do do do. I went dun dun when I should have went do do. Dun 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 da 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 dun da 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 dun da da dun da da dun 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 da 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 dun dun da da dun dun da da da. Bobby Archaic says Qapla, bird of prey, Qapla Bobby. Dan says there's another episode in season 5. Quark is a weapons dealer at the end of the episode. Lots of weapons fire in the cargo and Odo security sensors detected. Yes, in fact, that is next week's episode. Business as usual. Josh Reese says, is bird of prey ignoring the bird of preys now? No, I can't read them when I'm singing the intro. Plastic condom, says Thomas. Well, rubber, plastic, same thing. Dan says, bird of prey, some of Deep Space Nine video games have different sounding intro music. And Roxanne says, bird of prey went dum-dum. Is anyone surprised? Arabic Sana says, bird of prey, it's okay to just make it up with the end credits, please. So Odo is looking at himself in the reflection. He's trying to figure out if he actually has bedroom eyes. He's telling Kira about it. Kira is saying, well, tell me about this woman. Like, are you going to see her again? And he's like, I don't know. She says, well, obviously she's very perceptive. Meaning, you should see her again, says Kira. Kira's like, you should hit that, Odo. Get yourself some. I'm going to be at least another season before you're allowed in this. Dan says, how do you pronounce Jake Sisko's name? Sirach Lofton. So the woman has been arrested. She tried to break into the station computer. And she said the date never turned up last night. Or her guest. He was looking to see if he ever came aboard. Odo says, you should have came to me. I could have checked. She says, when you grow up on Video Prime, you learn not to trust people. It turns out she has a data port. She has a data port on her neck. She says the protocols protecting your computer have a nasty feedback loop or something. Odo says, I know, I designed them myself. She says, nice job. I couldn't stay connected long enough to get past the encryption. He's like, he's like, that's why I designed it that way. So Odo's like, what's a nice girl like you doing with a data port? She's like, they're not illegal. Odo says, they should be. They're always used to basically break into things. He's like, what were you meeting this guy about? She says, personal matter. Odo says he could just go to his quarters and ask him. She's like, I'd rather you didn't. It's a delicate situation. Odo's listening. He's well known for finding people, Tavid. People who don't want to be found. He's helping him locate her daughter. She gave her up when she was born 15 years ago. Odo says he sees. He told her that he had information about her. That's all she knows. Yeah, that's about as honest as Loki last night. She's been looking for her his whole life. Please let me talk to him. Odo says, all right. He'll take you to him. We'll sort out the rest later. So she says, thank you. And we got some Federation ships by DS9. Not as many as last week, but still a few. So Odo's pressing the bell. Nobody's answering. According to the access log, he's inside. So Odo overrides the lock. He's yelling at security, hello. And nobody's inside. Odo's looking at the carpet, and he sees that the chair has been moved because there was holes. And she's like, he's not here. And he's like, oh, yes, he is. And he sees the burn marks on the carpet. And Odo's like, yep, what's left of him is here. The residue contains Zydellian DNA. It's safe to assume it was him. Do you know why someone would want to kill him? She says no, but considering what he did for a living, he probably had all dealings with all sorts of characters. She said maybe it was a robbery. She didn't see any personal belongings in his quarters. She said, did your deputies find anything? He said, well, whatever happened, she doubted it has anything to do with her or her daughter. And Odo says it's possible someone doesn't want to find her daughter. She says that didn't give any indication to her last time they spoke about 3 days ago. She's like, I was so close to finding her, and now I got to start all over again. That's if you let me. She says, if. He says, if. She's like, I'm facing charges for trying to break into your computer. He says, considering you aren't able to access any secured information, he'll drop the charges. Wow, Odo. Talk about not letting your personal feelings get in the way of justice. You're free to go. You're a very kind man, she says. He hopes she finds her daughter. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz is Qapla, Bird of Prey. Kissing Odo is no substitute for kissing Dax. Absolutely not. The woman looks back at Odo one last time before she leaves. Dan says Herper in the show Andromeda had a data port on his neck. Yeah, the data port's pretty common in sci-fi. In DS9, when O'Brien joined the Orion Syndicate, there was a guy who had a data port, and he was breaking into a bank. And he did. They broke into a bank. So data ports, they're not new in sci-fi. They're not even new in Star Trek. So Quark is locking, closing his bar, and he says, we're closed. Morn was still in the bar. Quark yells at him, we're closed, go home. Morn's walking across the promenade at the middle of the night. And, the woman was trying to break in again. She again used her data port. And she says, Odo comes back. He says, he's saying the office is closed for the evening. If you want to secure any valuables, you have to come back in the morning. She's like, I didn't realize I tripped any alarms. She says, you didn't. He says, you're good. He says, I've been following you. I'm good too. So he asked if she found anything in the locker. He says, She says, would you believe me if I said no? He says, I'd have you strip searched. And she's like, that would be fun, but in the interest of saving time, it shows him it's a data crystal. But he's like, I've never seen a data crystal like this. It'd take a great time to decode. So he says, it'd be a simple matter to have being examined by a doctor to see if you've ever been pregnant. She's like, you keep trying to threaten me to be stripped down and examined. You try not to read too much into it. Do you have a daughter? She said, no. He says, that's the first honest thing you've said to me. She says, not true. I meant what I said about your eyes. So Odo's like, what's on the crystal? She's like, I don't know, but I have to find out. And she says, why? Odo says, why? And she says, because if I don't, I'm dead. So Odo's like, better start at the beginning. She works for a man named Drain. He's heard of him. He's with the Orion Syndicate. He specializes in blackmail and extortion. What a great specialization. She accesses computer systems. She's a hacker. She's the LDG of this episode. I hope you're well paid. It's a very dangerous line of work. You trigger the wrong security, you wind up with permanent brain damage. She's like, yeah, she knows there's not much she can do about it. You don't quit the Orion Syndicate unless they say you can. So she says, Odo says, do you want to quit? And she says, that's why she came to meet him. He says, he had information she could use to break away from Drain free and clear. Odo's like, well, why did you believe him? She's like, Odo's like, why? She doesn't even know why she believed him. She just did. But for some reason, she decided to trust him. She know it sounds insane. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Bert O'Prey in chat. Greetings, Mike Richards. Positive Candor says, Kira and Odo sitting in a tree. Kissing. Bert O'Prey 5 and Garfield were born on June 19th, 1978. So June 19th is really Juneteenth is really Garfield's birthday. Juneteenth. Garfield's birthday. Dan says, when does Morn live? When does Morn live? Where does Morn live? Maybe, I imagine in quarters like everyone else. Blackmail and extortion sounds like a Kurogan, says John DeMarco. In the meantime, Odo's placing this woman in protective custody. And he wants her to look at a bunch of pictures. If it's anybody she recognizes. The woman says, why are you helping me? Odo says, why not? She's like, you're just doing this out of kindness of your heart? Odo says, I don't have a heart. She says, you could have fooled me. Rock's Odds is Berta Pere. She is not the LDG of DS9. She wouldn't puncture her anus with her care, unlike Pickles. I don't understand what the word CAIR is supposed to mean. So, these two brothers, I think, they know she has the crystal. They have to make sure she doesn't access it. And the other guy says she's pretty. I was hoping we didn't have to kill her. Meanwhile, they're eating some type of fruit or something. Nice room. And he says, don't get too used. You're not staying here. They're transporting her somewhere else. Oh, right back to Odo's quarters. That's fancy. Now, if anybody was watching, they'll think you're in the other quarters. Now you're in my quarters, which means... Boo, chicka wow wow. She's like, these are your quarters. He's like, this is the last place anyone's going to look for you. I haven't had a woman in here since the station was built. Odo's going to stay out here to keep an eye on her. So there's a bedroom in the other room. There's 2 deputies stationed in the corridor posing as a maintenance crew doing repairs. She's like, "Where are you going to sleep?" Odo's like, "I don't sleep. I regenerate by reverting to a gelatinous state." She says, "It sounds relaxing." He says, "It is." She's like, she's so tired she wouldn't mind being in a gelatinous state herself. I think that's an invitation. Odo says, "I understand you haven't been able to identify anyone." He hasn't had much luck to identify him either. Not his real name. He took 3 different transports. He sent a picture of him to the Aldanian authorities. They're a very secretive race. The crystal. Dax and Chief O'Brien are trying to get through the encryption lockout. She says she could interface with it. He says that's not a good idea. The first time they tried to access it, feedback shorted out the computer. He'd hate to see what it'd do to her data port. The woman can't believe what she got herself into. She must have been out of her mind. Odo says, "You said you were desperate." He says, "Life on Fania isn't easy. You must have other options." She says, "Have you ever been there?" Odo says, "No." She's like, "It's not like a Federation world where everything's handed to you." You know how she ended up with this data port? She was a neck girl. She said that she wasn't selling her body because there was no actual contact, but she was. She let men into her mind for money. That's how she first met the guy. Before she knew it, she was working. She paid him more than she'd ever seen before. She was so far removed from the consequences. She was doing was easy to pretend she wasn't hurting anyone. She'd hear things now and then. Businessman dream had her investigate would disappear. She convinced her it had nothing to do with her. But after a while, she couldn't pretend. Bobby Archaix has gotta love Bird Peace Theater production of Deep Space Nine. It's like old time radio with teaser production values, almost like watching a TV. Well done, Bird of Prey. Thank you, Bobby. No, Morn doesn't die, Hector. He's the soul of the station. Bobby Archaix says, and it's still miles above and beyond disgracery. Indeed. Roxas says, Bird of Prey, she's not selling her body, but she does often offer short-term leases. I'm interested in that lease. Positive Candor says, who mourns for Morn is the episode where Morn dies. But he doesn't die, does he? I didn't give it away. Everybody knows Morn doesn't die. Also, I think we watched it already. Anyway, Odo's taking personal responsibility for her safety, even if he's got to get a leave of absence. Wow. So he's not, it's personal. She's like, why? Why would you do that for me? Odo says he's done things he's not proud of in his life. He worked for the Cardassians. He never had the courage to walk away. You did. He admires that. She's like, wait a minute. You're going to have to give me a minute to get used to this. She's never been admired for anything except the way she looks. And Odo says most people can't see past the surface, especially when they see something so beautiful. And she looks at him. Odo says he's sorry. She's like, don't apologize. I'm not going to Me Too you. Not yet. He's going to see if they made any progress decoding the crystal. Says, make herself comfortable. He'll check in later, and she says, I'm not going anywhere. Well, Odo, shouldn't you have beamed back to her quarters so you would walk out the door of her quarters so people would think she was alone? So, Bashir is in the Hollow Suite, and he's playing the program, and the woman that Falcon is supposed to be Falcon to steal away. There's a knock at the door, and it's Odo. Odo is sorry to interrupt. He needs to talk to Dr. Bashir alone. And this is very, very unusual. So he's a driver stopped the car, and so Odo's getting into the car, and the beautiful woman is getting out of the car. He's like, "Isn't that the woman he's supposed to steal away from Falcon?" Says, "Yes, but since you didn't show up, Bashir swept her off the feet." Odo says, "How did you know she was interested?" He says, "It's the program. What is this about? You didn't come here to talk to you about women, did you?" "Ah," says Bashir. "It's about bedroom eyes, isn't it? Who told you about it? Kira? Dax? It was Miles. People are talking. It's because they care. You put on a good front, but anyone who really knows you knows you. If you're interested in this woman, you have to let her know." Odo says, "I can't. What if she rejects her?" Bashir says she might, but you can't go through life. You can't go through life without taking a chance. Your heart will break anyway. If you do, you'll move on and you'll never know what would have had. And that's worse than a broken heart. Believe him. And it's Falcon. It's Falcon. He's like, "Oh, hi, Odo." Odo's leaving and said, "This isn't fair," says Bashir. He said, "Didn't anybody ever tell you shouldn't stop for hitchhikers?" Says O'Brien as Falcon. Dan says, "Bird of Prey, when was the Orion Syndicate first mentioned in Trek?" That is a good question. I don't know. TNG, maybe? Josh Reed says, "Mirror Universe, Morn did die." And Dan says, "Morn dies in season 6. So who mourns for Morn is season 6? Okay. So Odo is coming to confront her. He usually reads for an hour or two before going to sleep. She says, "What are you reading?" It's a detective novel. She said, "Did you figure out who did it yet?" By the 3rd page, she said, "I should let you get back to your book." My God. He doesn't feel like reading. "Perhaps we could talk for a while." She's like, "I don't really feel like talking." He doesn't. She's like, "What do you want to talk about?" Yeah. Go for it, Odo. Give her a little bit of that changeling tongue. What's this? An Eskimo kiss? No, there it goes. Is this Odo's first kiss? She's like, "Tell me more." And they cut the commercial just when it was getting good. Oh shit, they're naked. How does Odo take off his clothes? His clothes are part of his body. Oh. He pays special attention to his skull. Said something about suspicion is very important in his line of work. They're admiring each other's bodies. He says, "Why are you looking at her that way?" she says. Odo, just trying to figure something out. She says, "Tell me, maybe I can help." You're the first woman he's ever been friends with. He's never been able to let down his guard. He was just wondering, what makes her different? She's like, "Wait a minute. You've never been with anyone before?" He says, not humanoid. Once on his home world, he had an experience you might consider sexual. It was pretty much a gangbang, wasn't it, Odo? It was a fucking orgy. It was your entire planet engaged in one giant orgy. I think that makes up for it. But whatever. Details. She doesn't have to know that he was physically linked with thousands of other changelings. The modern menace. The random menace is, "I had no commercials." Bird of Prey. What commercials? Josh reads, "Did Bird of Prey forget how Odo was once a solid and had everything?" Oh, that's right. Odo was a solid. John Araki said, "Did Odo thought Kira was that beautiful? Why not take her form if Odo thought Kira was that beautiful?" In fact, you would think Odo could create a Kira and they could just be connected by their hands and he could kind of make love to himself. Maybe Odo's clothes are like leg hair or even wax on human. Dan says, "Not the first time Odo has been naked in the show." True, but naked as a shapeshifter. John Araki says, hashtag Bashir is a virgin. Not, I'll tell you, not with holograms, if they count. Actor says, maybe he absorbed his clothes and is making him a little dirty inside. No, we clearly see when Odo becomes a shapeshifter that he makes his own clothes. I would think they can, John Araki. He can certainly make himself bigger. Double his size. Can a changelings copy themselves for the old double team? Wow. I suppose he could. John Street says, "Odo, your entire planet was an effing orgy." Yeah, that's a quote. John Araki says, "Hollow Suite doesn't count." And Worf is upset that Jadzia and Kira are talking. She wanted to be told when the sensors went off. He says, "You can begin your experiment any time," says Worf. Dax says, "I'm talking to Kira." He's like, "You're not talking, you're gossiping." Besides, Odo is quite capable of taking care of himself. He says, "Don't shout across the room. If you want to gossip with us, come down here." And says, Ben Sisko comes out. He's like, "Where's Odo?" He asked her to arrange a conference. And he's like, "He's never late." And Back's like, "He never spent the night with a woman before." And Sisko's like, "Nice." And Odo came in, and Sisko's like, "Starfleet intelligence is ready when you are." And Sisko has got a little smile on his face. She's like, "Did you see the look on Odo's face?" says Dax. "I'm telling you, something happened." Kira, not so much. Doesn't really believe it. Rock Solid is Bird of Prey. If the tip is in, it counts, damn it. Absolutely. And this woman's back up to her old tricks of trying to hack the system. Dan says season 5, Odo was human, and then later in the season 5, the change. Yes. Yes, I remember now. Thank you. Bashir dated Lita. Yeah, Bashir definitely is not a virgin. He's been to Ryza, him and Lita, him and God knows who else. Remember, every patient, every female patient he's ever helped, he tries to get in their pants. We've only seen a few. It doesn't mean that they didn't happen. So a guy comes in, he says, "Your security chief, Odo." He's come in about the communication he sent to the Idanian government. He's like, "Where's the girl? Is she safe?" And he says, "You know her?" He says, "Not as well as she knows herself. She's an intelligence agent. She was sent to infiltrate the organization." Odo says, "That's not possible. She would have told you." Told him. He says, "She doesn't know. We gave her a new identity before they sent her in. All her previous memories are in the data crystal. They need to get the data crystal. You must take him to her at once." Does Odo do any type of verification that this guy is who he says he is? None. Zero. O'Brien is knocked out. He says, "The crystal is Marissa," says the guy. He can track it. He's got his own tricorder. "She took the crystal," says O'Brien. So this woman beat the shit out of O'Brien and took the crystal. So she's like, "Is anyone here?" And just this guy comes out. Of course, his brother is playing with his gun that he thought was unstunned last time. Roxana says, "Bashir and Miles because of hashtag O'Brien must suffer." Positive Cantor says, "Bashir banged Ezri for sure." Yeah, but not at this point yet. Ezri is still like a 16-year-old at this point in time. Josh reads says, "Bird of Prey, turn in your nerd card, forgetting Odo was once a human, then turned back into a changeling." John Aragi says, "Sleeping with a Trill means you slept with all the people they slept with and their hosts, and all the people they slept with." Trills get around, says John Araki. So this guy shows that he's not armed. She's like, "Do you think I'd be stupid enough to come here with a weapon?" He says, "Indulge me." So she gives this little, show off. Nothing under her sleeves. Turns around, shows off her ass. There we go. He wants the data crystal. Dan says, "John Araki, Tuvok had relations with the holodeck to help his medical condition, his Panfar." She's like, "Do you have any idea?" He asked, "Do you have any idea what's on this?" She says, "No. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself." He says, "Don't go yet. You haven't met my associate." And standing next to him behind the barrels is the brother. He said, she asks, "How are you?" He says, "He's fine." He's like, "We had a deal." He says he was in an emotional state. Train. What type of name is Train? "He liked you. Maybe you should close your eyes," as he points a gun at her. And the doors start opening on the cargo bay. And of course they don't shoot her, which they just aim at all the doors. And then Odo is gelatinous above them, and he solidifies. He jumps on the guy without the gun. He should have jumped on the guy with the gun. The woman has to go after the guy with the gun. He starts fighting with her, and then the other guy comes in and says, "Don't move." And Odo punches the guy with the gun in the face. And she gets the data crystal back. And she says, "I wish I knew what all this was about." And then they attach the data crystal to her neck. When Bashir's office. And Bashir says memory transfer will take a few minutes. So Cisco's like, what's happened? He's like, she volunteered 2 years ago. They implanted new memories. They thought she woke up thinking she was a different person. They employ telepaths to scan everybody who works for them. It was the only way to get past it. Dream. I guess his name is Dream or Train. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. What she knows about Dream is going to bring down the entire organization. As soon as she's debriefed, he's going to put indictments. Odo says you make it seem as it went to plan. She was nearly killed. It's like every stage of this operation was meticulously planned. She volunteered. Says, why didn't you tell us when we found out that What's-His-Face has been killed? He said, we couldn't risk it. It would have jeopardized the entire operation. But now that she's safe, Dream's going to prison for a long time. The transfer is complete, says Bashir. She's going to take him to surgery. To surgery? What? Are you going to take out the data port? So I guess she never was a neck girl. That was a false memory. Odo. Oh, she's back in her original people's dress of a nun. So, Narissa. That's the name of the Romulan from Picard. That's not even your name, is it? Says Odo. There's something you need to know. She's married. She has a husband. You slept with a married woman. You monster. She's so sorry. Not as sorry as your husband's going to be, lady. Odo says, don't be. You didn't know. It's not your fault. She fell in love with a woman who never existed. She did exist, she said. She was real. She loved you. Aw. What a raw deal, Odo. In a way, she still does. Oh my God. One last kiss? No. No, she's a married nun. Odo asked, will he ever see her again? Hell no. She doesn't know, but the answer is no, Odo. She'll never forget him, though. John Street says, so Kira slept with Odo, and Odo had an orgy. Berto prays words. Does that mean Kira slept with every changeling that was once on Odo's homeworld? I don't know if she slept with them, but she's one step removed from sleeping with them. Poor Odo. Poor Odo. Aww. Just look out the window and stare into space. End of episode. I'll guarantee this wasn't a bad episode. Listen, if you're gonna separate DS9 into top half and bottom half episodes, you gotta make hard choices. Okay? And I will grant you, this is a hard choice. But I would put it in the bottom 50% rather than the top 50%. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of good episodes that are going to have to be put in the bottom 50%. There's just no other way to say it. That's just my opinion. And her name was Arissa, not Narissa. Thank you, Positive Candor. To me, lots of names sound the same. I don't know why. I have name Lexia. Oh, name Lexia. Paramount, a Viacom company. Okay. So that was a simple investigation, which, as we all saw, was not so simple. Get this more nicer picture of DS9 up. Okay, so next week, next DS9 Wednesday is business as usual, season 5, episode 18, and that is where Quark becomes a weapons dealer. Of course, he doesn't actually sell weapons, he just uses his holodeck to show simulations of weapons. Now, if I was going to buy a weapon, I would want a real demonstration of a weapon and not a holographic demonstration of a holographic weapon, because it's like saying, well, yeah, here's a test drive, but instead of test driving the actual car, you can do a VR test drive. And I was like, no, that's bullshit. You could make anything happen in the holodeck. I want to see what it really is going to feel like when I shoot it. So, but a ridiculous plot, but a very, let's say, important episode for the overall growth of the Quark character. A very Ferengi-centric episode next week. So I look forward to that. Positive Candace says it's Bird of Prey. He always gets the name wrong. And Positive Candace says that excuse sounds like lame Alexia to me. Well, Arabic Sonus is not as bad as Matthew's name Lexia. Random Menace is Bird of Prey. Thank you for the stream. It was very entertaining. You are welcome, Random Menace. And Dan says, I mean, this episode is similar to Voyager's Unforgettable. Yeah, I don't remember Unforgettable offhand. And Random Menace says it's pretty much a rehash. Is that the episode where there's the woman who died and Harry Kim was in love with her or something, and then she died and then she became a different species? I don't remember. Positive Candace is coming soon, season 6, episode 12, Who Mourns for Morn? Morn dies. Sorry, spoiler. Josh reads says, so Bird of Prey, you don't like your simulation of you crashing Jeeps in Call of Duty. Well, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And John DeMarcos is not remembering an episode called Unforgettable. Now that's ironic. You know what? I don't think we're going to do any better than that. So we're going to end the stream on that comment, guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, watching some Deep Space Nine. A high point to my week, indeed. A great time, even if not the bestest episode. I am working on a video. It'll be a little different than usual. I've already told people what it's about, so it's not going to be a total surprise. To some people, to others it will be. I don't know if it'll be done tonight or tomorrow or next week, but it is, I've started enough work that I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish it. Farewell from Columbus, Ohio. Dear Bop from Rock Solid. And Josh Reed says, Bird of Prey just said simulations are not the same as him crashing. Jeeps all over New Jersey, Caroga. Well, it's not the same. Qapla all, Bird out. But wait, there's more. The video might be over, but there's more fun to be had. First, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have clicked that bell icon to get notifications of new videos in your YouTube feed. Share this video on social media to help this channel fight the algorithm that favors big media. Also check out www.birdoprey5.com for links to my other channels, various social media accounts, merch store, Dear Bop, affiliate links, and all your Birdo Prey 5 needs. At the main Birdo Prey 5 YouTube channel, you can find all sorts of live streams and unlisted videos, YouTube membership options, and a community section with polls and updates on the channel. On the secondary channel, Birdo Prey 5X, you can find overflow content that doesn't always make the main channel. Subscribe to both channels, please. Thanks for watching. Remember, I stream almost every day. This is Birdo Prey 5 saying goodbye, world. Until next time. P.S. Hail Sassy, hail Charlie, and of course, hail Kuroga. Yeah, I don't know why the outro was so quiet. I was wondering that too. Sorry about that.